Hey there, this is Alula LV. In today's video, we're going to talk all about Pharrell's third show for Louis Vuitton. This is the men's Fall/Winter 24 collection, and we knew right away when this collection was teased with this illustration of a cowboy and horse that we were going to be in for quite the extravaganza, and I can say Pharrell did not disappoint. It was a very interesting show. So, we're going to break it all down, take a look at all the looks from the collection, as well as look ahead at what leather goods and accessories, ready to wear, we can expect to see in the stores when this collection launches. It should be launching in July or August. So, let's get to it. This show was inspired by both American cowboy and Native American cultures. We could see that right off the bat with the beautiful flower motif on the coat, as well as the turquoise speedy. Turquoise is a recurring color throughout this collection. And here in look 5, we can see the cowboy American Western wear influences. And I thought it was really interesting how Pharrell talked about how he approached this theme. In an interview after the show, he said, quote, "When you see cowboys portrayed, you only see a few versions. You never really get to see what some of the original cowboys looked like. They looked like us. They looked like me. They looked black. They looked Native American." So you can tell from his comments that both Pharrell and the team did put effort into making this a very authentic and genuine collection and worked at being respectful in the way that cultures were portrayed in both the show and the collection. You could tell that right away from the casting for this show. It was very diverse and inclusive. I was also really happy to read reporting covering this show that Native Americans from both the Dakota and Lakota tribes were apparently consulted in the development of this collection, specifically the Dakota flowers design that you can see here, as well as the parfleche designs here. These are traditional Native American designs, and I was really happy to see that they actually did consult with Native American tribes members in the creation of those pieces. However, I do think there were a few looks where, while these are very beautiful pieces individually, the whole ensembles together seemed not quite genuine or authentic. They almost came off as costumish. And as you can see from the blouse here, these are really beautifully embellished and intricate pieces. This isn't to downplay any of the workmanship that went into these pieces, but when you take them as a whole, as the whole look, I do think there were a few times when they were trying perhaps a little too hard. I thought the marriage of Western wear with high fashion was much more successful in these looks here, for example, where the influences were a little more subtle. We still had very beautifully, intricately detailed pieces. I really loved this jacket with the damier print in turquoise and silver. I thought this was a real showstopper. This jacket here is another beautiful option if you like things to be even more subtle. We have a little bit of that turquoise detail, but it's really just a beautifully tailored coat, which I think can certainly stand on its own. I do also want to note there were a few female models on the runway as well for this menswear collection, which goes back to that quote from Pharrell we talked about earlier. Now, this collection was not necessarily designed for me. I am not a client of menswear, so I did also reach out to Matt D74 for his opinion. He is a blogger who runs the Instagram page Matt D74, and he posts Louis Vuitton menswear news, updates, and forthcoming releases. This is what he had to say about the show. Quote, "I think the theme and the collection all flowed nicely together. Pharrell definitely has his pieces and designs, such as the Speedy and the camouflage print. My favorite piece shown is the pink Speedy, but I can appreciate it all." Matt makes a great point about this speedy P9 as seen here, as well as the camouflage print. I think now with this third show, we're finally starting to see what will eventually be some of the trademark designs and legacy of Pharrell's era as creative director at Louis Vuitton, eventually after he retires or leaves. Here is the camouflage print, which was reimagined for the Fall Winter 24 show. Speaking of the camouflage print, while we're on that topic, another standout aspect of this show was the sheer number of new prints and patterns that were introduced. Looking back at Pharrell's legacy, I think this is going to be another one of his trademarks that will really exemplify his time as menswear creative director. So let's review this show going print by print. We're going to start out with the newest version of camouflage, which is called, you not, camouflage. It's very similar to the original camouflage print from the spring summer show, except this colorway has a lot more of white and gray in it, so it is apparently cow inspired. There is also another version with orange and gray, which I actually surprisingly quite liked this colorway. I thought it worked pretty well. We saw these colors in not only ready to wear and bags and accessories, but also hard-sided trunks. So this is definitely a key pattern from this show. Here we can see a hard-sided trunk as well as the Speedy 40. This will be produced. In this video, I will focus on showing you bags that I have seen will or should be going into production. Here's another bag that we will see in stores over the summer. This is called the new soft trunk. In terms of accessories, we'll see all the usual suspects show up in store. Here we can see the belt and baseball cap. They have also doubled down on the Western theme by using a rope motif for the logo. The next pattern we have is Damier Buffalo. Again, two colorways. We have the classic red and black, as well as the orange and brown as seen here. They really did very little to differentiate this from the classic buffalo check. It's very similar. They changed the grain of the check, so it's that damier grain, and added the Vuitton logo inside one of the squares. But other than that, it's a very, very classic buffalo check pattern. We saw this print featured extensively throughout the show. Again, like the camouflage, we saw this on ready-to-wear bags, accessories, as well as hard-sided trunks, and I think it worked really well in the looks like these, where less is more, because this is a very bold, very in-your-face print, so I do like the pieces where it was a little bit more subtle, such as the bomber jacket where the sleeves are just plain black leather. I also quite liked this sweater on the right because you can see a little bit more of the LV motif in it. It's a little more different than just the plain buffalo check pattern that we see on the left. If I'm going to be paying LV prices for one of these pieces, I want it to be a little bit more different. I think you'll understand where I'm coming from with that. Here's a couple hats we will see in this collection as well. This will be coming in a lot of accessories. Here we can see the collectibles bear. That was in the camouflage print in the spring summer. This season, we're getting it in the buffalo check. We'll also have the pocket organizers, belts, coasters, bandanas. A lot we'll be seeing in this print in stores. Here is one of the hard-sided trunks. The shoebox case is also coming in the Damier Buffalo. We will be covering shoes at the end of this video. A lot of interesting shoes to talk about. And here are some of the pieces that will be produced that we'll see in stores. We have the Speedy 40 along with a Speedy key charm. We also have the pocket organizer in both colors, the red and yellow colorway. In the yellow colorway, we'll also be getting the steamer and the Christopher backpack. This steamer was another key design that we saw extensively throughout this collection. We'll be seeing a lot of the steamer throughout this video. Here is the Speedy 25 in the buffalo check as well. I believe it will be coming in the red and black colorway. Now, let's move on to the next print, which we saw in the baseball cap earlier. This is called Arabesque, and this is a very cowboy inspired print. It comes in this tri-color colorway as well as a plain monogram black. I actually really love this monochrome black. I think it looks so cool. Let's take a look at the pieces. Here we can see the Speedy 40 as well as another Speedy bag charm in this print. It is, again, like the Buffalo check, like a lot of things that we've seen from Pharrell. It is very bold, loud, in your face. Again, I think a little bit of this will go a long way. We will see the mini soft trunk in this pattern, as well as another bag on the left, which I'm not sure what the name of that bag is, as well as the baseball hat and a lot of other accessories in this print. These pieces are very, very pricey. I'm not including prices because they're just preliminary prices and they're not finalized, but they are very expensive, even by Louis Vuitton standards. You can see that this print is an actual cutout patchwork of leather, and it is all embroidered. So again, I'm sure these pieces are a little bit more time consuming than the usual types of pieces to make, so they are priced accordingly. Here's also the Speedy in the monochrome black Arabesque, and again, I absolutely love this. I love the show of different textures and even the different shades of black within those textures. This is such a cool bag, and if only I could afford it. But that's what we have for Arabesque. Let's move on now to Monogram Dust. And to be quite honest with you, I am not a huge fan of this new iteration of the Monogram canvas. I'll tell you exactly why, but first, let's take a look at some of the pieces we'll be getting in this print. We have a Pochette Accessoire XL. That's right. The pochette is coming on the men's side in a larger size. I'm not sure the exact size of it. This print will also be available on the pocket organizer. This will be produced in stores. This is meant to mimic a dust-covered monogram. I'm assuming all the dust that's out in the dry, windy, wild west. But I think it's a little too dusty for my liking, if you get what I mean. It's a little too faded on the edges, and I think it kind of almost looks like a bad counterfeit. Like the print didn't quite go all the way onto the canvas, if that makes sense. So I think if you want to go for this sort of vintagey, dusty, worn-in look, to be quite honest with you, I would just go with a vintage monogram LV piece with a little bit of patina, some watermarks on the handle, and you kind of have this whole vibe at a much lower price point. But that's just my 2 cents. Here we can see some more pieces. We have the envelope pouch on the right. I believe this is called the wallet trunk on the left. This is like a small clutch wallet. I think it's very cool. I love these pieces, just not a huge fan of the print. I'm sorry if you like it. It's just not like to my personal taste. Here we have a really interesting bag. This is called the Horseshoe Speedy. Again, we can see a very, very faded monogram print on this bag, and the left or the end cap detail is a stylized horseshoe. I think it's a really cool concept. I really love the way this bag encapsulates the theme of the show. I just cannot get past that monogram dust look. Here are some other bags coming in this print. From left to right, we have the new soft trunk East-West, as well as a very large version of the steamer. Let's take a closer look at these new designs. Here's the new soft trunk. This is a small bag, but it still looks like you can fit a decent amount of items in it. It is a soft bag, as the name implies, but it does have quite a bit of structure to it. I really love all the vachetta leather around the bag. I know a lot of people don't like the vachetta, but it looks like it's a pre-treated vachetta, possibly. Really cool details on this bag. I'm excited to see more of it. We also have the new soft trunk East-West. This looks to me like it will be slightly larger than the new soft trunk that we just saw, a little bit less structure to it, more slouchy. We have a small flap opening at the top of the bag. This looks like a very interesting design. Of course, I haven't seen this in person yet, but I will be very interested to see these two bags in store. Let me know what you think of these new bags. Comment below and share your thoughts. Also in the Monogram dust print, we have the loose trunk, which we'll take a look at in a minute. Again, another version of this steamer, as well as the Speedy. So here is the loose trunk. To my knowledge, this is also another new design. I felt so bad for this bag when I saw the way it was being manhandled down the runway. I mean, this poor little bag is just having the life squeezed out of it. But here is the steamer. Again, we have two different sizes here. I'm not sure offhand what these sizes are, but it looks to me like we will be seeing a lot of the steamer in stores and in upcoming collections. These will also be produced. This is the Speedy size 40, I believe, as well as the Montsaurus backpack. Again, this looks just like a vintage Montsaurus backpack. If you're looking for this bag, I would honestly buy one pre-loved for a fraction of what this bag will be priced at. Let's move on now to the exceptional pieces. And oh my, were there a lot of exceptionals in this show? I was personally quite shocked. I'm only scraping the surface in this video of the exceptional pieces that were shown. There were just tons and tons of exotics and exceptional made-to-order bags. There was no way I could cover them all, so let's just take a look at a few, including the P9 Speedy, which I know you're all waiting for. Here we see a new version of the Speedy, which I thought was super interesting. I loved all the added pockets on the outside and the stud details. I particularly loved how they showcased the pockets with things like a flask and a deck of cards. I thought it really encapsulated that whole American West theme without being quite so literal as the looks that I started off this video with. I also really loved the look of this leather. Here's a detailed look at it, and it looks really luxurious and supple. It reminds me of their high-end millésime leather. I'm not sure if this is the same leather or something different, but it definitely reminds me of their nicer, higher-end leathers. And now the bag I know you've all been waiting for, the Speedy P9. We saw this in 4 new colors: turquoise in the size 25 and 50, the color camel in the size 40 only. Here's a look at the turquoise in the smaller size 25. This is a really beautiful color, and from what I saw on social media and the reaction to this show, this was one of the most popular new colors. The other 2 new colors we will be seeing is purple in the size 25 and 40, as well as fuchsia in the size 40 only. Again, these will be available like the current Speedy P9 colors to VIC clients, and they will be available by nomination only. So basically, your store manager or sales associate will have to offer this bag to you. They will be very, very hard to get. We also saw an exotic upgrade to the Speedy P9. This bag was shown in ostrich leather in 3 different colors and 3 different sizes. The size 18 in the color Canyon, the size 25 in the color Red Rocks, and the Speedy 40 in the color Cactus. We saw a ton of ostrich in this collection, so if you gravitate towards that exotic leather, you will love this collection. Let's take a look at the most expensive piece in this collection before we wrap up the exceptionals. This is a Speedy P9 in exotic leather. I believe this will be available in both crocodile and alligator. And apparently this is all hand painted. The metal is all real silver. This is priced at $250,000, which is crazy, but I suppose compared to the Millionaire Speedy that we saw in the spring summer show, this is a real bargain. You could get 4 of these for the price of one of those, but to my knowledge, this is the most expensive item in this collection. Before we go, I have to take a minute to talk about the shoes. I would be remiss to not mention the LV Timberland collaboration. Here we have it. We have the classic Tims, as well as a version in black and a version in monogram canvas. I actually really like the LV detail on the inside of the tongue. We saw these boots in so many of the looks throughout the show. These will be super popular. Again, this collection should be landing in stores this summer, July and August. If you want a pair of these shoes, the best of luck to you. Again, I think these are going to be really popular. Here are some of the versions of the shoe that were created for this collaboration. So that is Pharrell's 3rd runway show and collection for Louis Vuitton. As always, comment below and share your thoughts on what you thought of this collection. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's a small thing that really helps me out. As always, I hope you come back every Friday for new videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.